There are a few topics in the world of car sharing that are as muddy and confusing as the topic of insurance. Why do Turo hosts need insurance? Why can't we just use Turo protection packages? And if we do need insurance, why is it so damn confusing and expensive? In this video, I'm going to be doing a refresher as to how Turo insurance works. I'm going to be breaking down why you do need insurance even if you're using Turo protection packages. And I'm going to be going through some of the things that you need to know if you're trying to navigate this subject successfully. And if you're interested in going into more depth about the world of car sharing, I do have my course, the Car Sharing Masterclass, which teaches you everything you need to know about starting and scaling a car sharing fleet with the same business model that I use. You can use the code OFFER100 to get $100 off. The link is down in the description below. So the first question that I get asked all the time is, why do we need insurance for our car sharing vehicles, and why isn't it that Turo protection packages aren't enough in this instance? Oftentimes people ask this question in the context of, hey, I'm not ever planning on driving my cars outside of Turo, so am I just able to get Turo protection and not get any other third-party insurance? And in theory, I must admit that this logic makes sense. And I can see why people think this if they haven't read the Turo terms of service. And the truth is, there are a few reasons why, even if you never plan to drive your cars outside of whenever they're on a Turo rental, why you still need to have third-party insurance. Number one is state requirements. Technically speaking, the coverage that Turo offers is an insurance company. It's a protection package. And this is important because protection packages do not meet state and government guidelines for what is required for insurance. For this reason and this reason alone, you need to have third-party insurance that actually meets these guidelines. But the second reason is that it's actually required in the Turo terms of service. Even if theoretically Turo protection packages did meet state and federal guidelines for insurance, Turo does outline in their Turo terms of service that you must have valid third-party insurance. And for these two reasons, you have to have insurance, even if you never plan to drive your car outside of Turo whenever it's being rented and driven by a guest. But what type of insurance should you get? And truthfully, the type of insurance that you should get for your fleet will really depend on a handful of different factors, like types of cars that you have, whether your cars are financed or paid for in cash, whether you use the cars you rent out for personal use, whether your cars are in an LLC or in your personal name, and I would argue your ability to repair cars also has a major impact here as well. When it comes to any business, but this is also applicable to a Turo and car sharing fleet, there are a lot of different types of insurance that you can choose from. You have general business insurance or an umbrella policy. This could protect you in the case you get sued or if there is a risk to your overall business. You of course have liability insurance. This is required to have for any vehicle that you own. And you have comprehensive coverage. This is technically not required, but it can be a good idea. Now, I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of whether or not you should have business liability, commercial insurance, because truthfully, that's a topic for a lawyer and it's something that I definitely don't feel like discussing in broad terms. But whenever it comes to the type of insurance that you should have for your actual vehicles, well, this is really up to you. Some hosts opt for full coverage, which includes comprehensive and liability, while other hosts opt in to just liability only. The benefit of liability only is that it is significantly cheaper to get this type of insurance versus getting full coverage. And in my experience, it can oftentimes be between 30 to 40% cheaper to go with liability only versus full coverage. But of course, those savings come at a cost, and that cost is that you have less coverage. So you're paying for less, but you are getting less. Now, depending on your cars, how often you drive them, and even your own experience with working on cars, it can potentially make sense to get liability only for your vehicles. In fact, with my fleet, I have liability only on all of my cars with the exception of my Lincoln Navigator, which has full coverage, and of course my personal cars, which also have full coverage. The reason we went with liability only is because we never drive our fleet vehicles for personal use. We rarely drive them at all, and if we do drive them, we figure we'll just be extra cautious to avoid getting into an accident. If something did happen, we would just have to repair the car ourselves, which given our in-house resources, we're comfortable with taking that risk, given the fact our cars are cheaper and easy to repair. But if you had, say, a fleet of $30,000 to $40,000 vehicles, I think getting liability only on those cars would be a pretty big mistake. There are also concerns that Turo hosts often have in regard to coverage limits. Turo offers $750,000 in liability coverage, but what happens if your Turo guest hits a school bus and causes millions of dollars in losses? Well, in most cases, even if you had a more robust vehicle insurance policy, chances are that insurance policy wouldn't cover this type of incidents because most insurance companies that insure Turo vehicles actually don't insure the car whenever they're out on a rental. And if a claim is filed on the vehicle while it's on a rental, the insurance company will simply deny that claim. This is where you would need to tap into some third-party business insurance like an umbrella policy. But truthfully, even how this would work and the details of how an umbrella policy would protect a Turo host in this type of situation, it's pretty unclear because this type of circumstance is relatively untested in the world of Turo. At least me personally, I'm not aware of a situation where a Turo host had millions and millions and millions of dollars in claims with the Turo vehicle and they had to tap into third-party coverage in order to cover that. But if anybody in the comments of this video has experience of working with this type of situation, not just a death, but a multi-million-dollar claim, I would be interested in seeing how that worked out, so feel free to message me. Again, this is definitely a topic for a lawyer. In the realm of umbrella policies and business commercial insurance, it can get complex really quickly, so we're going to stay out of that for this video. Now, when it comes to what type of insurance companies you can choose in order to insure your vehicles, your options are unfortunately very limited. And they are even more limited if you're somebody who wants to use your car for both Turo and for personal use. Now, for a long time, there were three major players for commercial insurance for Turo hosts. There was GMI, ABI-X, and Lula. Now, Lula recently announced that they're going to be closing and they're transitioning their customers to a different product or just nixing their coverage altogether. So today there's really three options, one of which is very, very new, and that's GMI, ABI-X, and Tint. Tint currently seems to be rolling out to people who were previously with Lula, so I actually don't know a whole lot about Tint, but from what I've heard from people who are currently using it, it is very comparable to Lula with both rates and overall features. But again, this is something that we should be learning more about as the product continues to be rolled out to non-Lula customers. GMI is definitely more of a commercial insurance focused. It really isn't designed as much for car sharing hosts, though car sharing hosts can absolutely use it, while ABI-X is a product that ABI Insurance offers for Turo hosts specifically. It is car sharing host designed. It has car sharing hosts in mind. So it is very, very focused on the world of Turo. Now, in the case of ABI-X, you do have limits on how often you can drive the car, even if it's not for personal use, and you also have to keep a tracker in the vehicle so that ABI knows when the car is in your possession versus when it's out on a rental, because they only cover the vehicle whenever you have it, not whenever a guest has it. Now, I will admit, I've been using ABI-X for quite a while now, and I've been very, very happy with the product. I'm not even sponsored by them, but I truly believe that in this current market with insurance, they're probably one of the best options out there. And while I have heard that the lead time of getting a new ABI-X account set up can be pretty long, once you have the account set up, it is very, very easy to add on and remove cars. But because ABI-X is a commercial insurance provider, it's not designed for when you drive your car for personal use, which means that if you rent out your personal car, you really can't go with a commercial provider like ABI, and you would be better off going with a company like Liberty Mutual, which offers a Turo-friendly policy, or simply going with the do not ask, do not tell method, which can be fine with one or two cars, but you absolutely will have to weigh out the pros and cons with this route. And that is not telling your insurance company that you rent your car out on Turo, hoping that they never find out, but understanding that they may find out, and once they do, they'll drop you. This is a path that many Turo hosts, including myself, have used whenever they're first starting out, but obviously it isn't a long-term solution, and it does get unsustainable as your fleet grows. Now, this is all to say that the unfortunate reality with insurance with Turo is that it's a very tricky topic. There really isn't a great solution, and even the solutions that do exist are pretty costly for the type of coverage that they offer. I mean, for me specifically, I pay about $1,700 to insure my entire Turo fleet, and I have never once filed a claim with them. Nor will I ever, because I don't drive the cars for personal use, and if there is an issue, I just simply file the claim through Turo. But the bottom line is, regardless of what insurance company you go with, you cannot use Turo protection packages and Turo protection packages only for your insurance need. You absolutely have to get third-party insurance, and there really is no way around this. Like always, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear it, so make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.